Hello and welcome in, you guys, to the 11:38 full spoiler post-game show. We're here to look through the comment section and see what people are talking about and speculating about based off of this latest chapter of One Piece. Of course, again, we're reading through the full spoiler comment section, so by this point in time, nobody has actually seen the mural. We've only read the description of it, so let's see what the takeaway was. All right, so the top comment is actually me, myself, and I, so we're not gonna read that one. So going down to the next one, they say, a three-sword style mythological dog sword only in One Piece. And not just that, but the dog can actually detach his head too, so it gets even crazier, right? Bro, if this dog is the same power as what we saw with the Gorosei, then the dog can also rejuvenate. Is that the right way to say it? Rejuvenate? Well, I guess so, but maybe restore itself. It has infinite health. Oh yeah, dude, this dog is gonna be cracked. And then plus it's a sword. Like, how do you beat that? Like, once you beat the three-sword style Cerberus, does it die? Can you kill it? Like, what would that entail? Like, do you snap the sword in half? I don't know. It's a really weird thing to ask. I do believe that the huge winged demon that has the sun in its hand is basically an interpretation of Emu having possession of Uranus - the Mother Flame. Overall, this chapter is one of, if not the greatest lore drop Oda has ever given in all of One Piece. Man, I am so happy. Yeah, so chapter dropped 2 days ago. I had some time to sit with it. I looked at the mural, and I will say, it is indeed the greatest lore drop chapter we have ever gotten. No exaggeration, I can't think back to a single other instance in One Piece that has been this grandiose, right? The Shirahoshi chapter where we learn that she's Poseidon, pretty massive. Pluton reveal, also massive. The Void Century name getting teased, again, pretty big. Vegapunk message, huge. But this right here is an apt depiction of what the future is going to look like. And not just that, but we even went back to the past with the first world and second world. I really do not think anything else in One Piece has been this grand in scale in terms of lore. There really has not been. So yeah, it's not recency bias, it's not recency bias. I always get those words mixed up. It is actual fact. There is nothing greater than 1138. Next comment, they say, screaming Oda like Kendrick screamed mustard after this chapter. Oda really mentioned the half moon and didn't expect all the D theory believers like myself not to assemble. Yes. Bro, this has been a really big theory that the D-Clan is just a symbol of the half moon. And here we have it. You know, Oda dropped the term finally, and the D-Clan people are going crazy. And I do not blame them whatsoever. Oda killed the Blackbeard Cerberus theory in this chapter, but he gave life to so many others. How insane is the Fagarland family's influence? Garling just waves his hand and boom! Shanks gets VIP access to Mural like it's a 5-star resort. Meanwhile, when Doflamingo tried to reclaim his Celestial Dragon status, they basically threw him out like expired milk. Poor Dofi went from noble to nobody real quick. The boy was power creeped out. Yeah, this just shows their influence, man. It really does. So we don't really know what Shanks' interaction was like at Mural, but his brother kind of made it seem like it was a positive, right? Like, oh, you know, he came back home one time, and it's just unfortunate that he liked the lower world. You know, he grew really attached to those humans. And now I'm just like, yo, like, were they gonna let him back in? You know, if Shanks wanted to come home, would they let him? I mean, in terms of power, dude, I would let Shanks come back home, right? You know, they're out here trying to recruit Loki, but if the guy who beat Loki wanted to join, I bet they would do it. And plus, with his dad being the supreme commander, and with his older brother being the leader, yeah, I could totally see them giving him VIP access. And then we go back to Dofi, and I just do feel bad for him, right? Like, we don't know when Shanks went. Like, was he a child? Was he a teenager? Was he an adult? We have no clue. But Dofi went back as a child. He said, yo, my dad made a mistake. I killed my dad. Let me in. And they didn't. You know, I'm gonna say it right here, but I think Dofi, ever since he was a kid, had potential. They could have let Dofi in and trained him as a god knight, man. Come on, dude. Celestial dragons always make the silliest decisions. So now, going on to the response to this, they say, to be fair, that's the difference between a man who chose to leave versus a child who seemingly did not. Plus, the child's dad was a Gorosei in training. Nepotism diff, to be honest, you are right. And yeah, I mean, you could also make the same argument for Dofi though, right? Dofi didn't want to leave. I still recall the scene where, what was his dad's name again? Homing? Yeah. Don Quixote homing. The minute they left the Holy Land, there was a scene where Dofi went to his dad and said, "Daddy, where is the slaves?" I just thought that was so funny. I still bust up laughing whenever I see that. Just like a little 5-year-old Dofi with sunglasses on asking where the slaves are at. Yeah, it's some funny stuff, man. So now, they say the deity of the sea rampaged. Fits with the Great Flood theory. After the kings defeated Joy Boy, it makes sense that Poseidon would go on a rampage. The deities of the earth and forest could also be ancient weapons, Pluton or Uranus. So it seems like the ancient weapons have already brought about the end of the world a few times before. And yeah, I actually don't think this is a bad theory. I don't agree with it, but I think it's pretty decent. I do wonder now, if this is the case, if, you know, the god of the sea is Poseidon, and then we have Pluton and Uranus with the other gods of the earth and forest, I just kind of wonder if they're all sentient, right? Because we know Shirahoshi is sentient. She's her own person. So yeah, that makes sense. But as far as Uranus goes, would it be like a living thing since we're considering it a god and, you know, it makes its own movements? And same with the other god too. So I think that's the main question I kind of come back to. But overall, I like the thought train. I like the thought train. So below, they say, I think this is the portion where Rouge may come into play for the Angels. Ooh, yeah. He could be the Skypian representative or the Birkin representative. I think that's pretty decent. And also Rouge. Remember when people thought that Rouge would come into Elbaph? I still think that's possible, but you know, now that I think about Elbaph as a whole and what's actually happening right now, I just don't know where he'd fit in. Like, where would you put Rouge in this arc, right? Would you send him against the God Knights? Would you send him to the council with Luffy? Would he show up afterwards? Is he in the heaven world? Or does he just not show up at all? I wonder. All right, so the next comment says, children of Elbaph drawings from 800 to 900 years ago. The mermaid princess is Poseidon. The robot-like Emeth is Pluton. And the strange creature with ears is Uranus. Okay. I don't think that's too bad. But now that we have the drawings, though, now that I've seen it, I don't see the creature with strange ears that Redon really mentioned. I think it's the creature on the top right of the left side of the mural, but I think it kind of looks more like a Sulong mink. I think they might be hiding Uranus in the background somewhere, because when we get the image in the mural, there's these 3 giant text boxes that I think cover and hide a lot more details. And same with Frankie. Frankie is standing dead center in the mural, and I think he's blocking something important, right? When you think about pictures and paintings, the focal point is almost always in the middle. So yeah, I think Frankie's hiding something huge. It could even be Uranus, or maybe even Pluton too. But yeah, I think they're cooking up some good stuff here. Next one says, Kaido's attack was Conqueror of the 3 Worlds, Ragnarok. Yep. And that's why a lot of people think he might make a comeback here in Elbaph, or we'll get some more Kaido lore. And or this could also be fuel to the King Herald is Kaido's dad theory, right? How does Kaido know about the 3 worlds? That's an Elbaph legend. Well, that's not an Elbaph legend, it's like actual history. But if you're in Elbaph, it's like common knowledge, right? Everybody knows about the Harley text, people know about the mural. Has he been here? Has he seen what King Herald has seen? So now, going down, this one says, Enel coming back into the series before GTA 6 would be crazy, bro. They showed the arc of Maxim in there, bro. The arc Maxim was in the mural? The moon, where Enel is at, is in the mural? Lightning is in the mural? Bro, how does Enel come back? I don't know. But it does look like he plays a big role. If you were to look up the real estate space that Enel takes up in that mural with the arc Maxim and the lightning, it's like, dude, he's there. You know, like Enel is 100% going to come back, and it's going to be crazy. Like when I thought of Enel beforehand, before this chapter, I was always like, okay, like he's gonna come back, but he might play like a really low scope role, or maybe he comes back in a movie, right? A movie would be very non-consequential. You know, Enel coming down for like an hour or 2 hours, Luffy fights him again. Great movie. But no, it looks like Oda actually has bigger plans for him than just that. And that's wild to think about. I guess it's not too crazy though, because Enel went to the moon and he also saw murals, right? He also saw hieroglyphics talking about the ancient weapons and how the Birkins came from outer space and then all that good stuff. So yeah, maybe Enel does come back with a lot of heat or information even, right? Maybe there's actually something on the moon that is pivotal for the final saga, and Enel kind of completes the puzzle in a way. All right, so going down one more time, they say, we know that the mermaid princess is Poseidon. I think the huge winged demon that has the sun in its hand is Uranus, and the creature with the strange ears is Pluton. Okay, I gotta go back. What is the creature with strange ears? I remember reading that in the spoilers, but when I look at the chapter now, when I look at the mural, I don't see a creature with strange ears. I assume that they're talking about the top right thing. Yeah, now that I look at it, I don't know what the creature with strange ears is. Maybe it's the thing next to the tree, like I said earlier. Or, is the creature with strange ears the bird in the middle? Like, it has the two things like that? I think those are horns, not ears. But, okay. So what do they say? They think that is Pluton. And then the deity of the forest dispatched demons. I think this means that the forest god created devil fruits. I think the One Piece is the sun, and Vegapunk tried to recreate that when he made the Mother Flame. And you need the Nika fruit and Poseidon to use the power of the sun. Okay. Now that I look at the creature on the left, I think it's probably Emu, just because they're holding the sun. We know that Emu has the Mother Flame. As far as the deity that dispatched the demons, yeah, that could just be devil fruits. But what we know of devil fruits right now is very strange, right? From Vegapunk's description, devil fruits are born from the desires of mankind and the dreams of mankind. So would that relate to the forest god? I think that's my main question right there. I think it might have just actually been real demons. But that's also odd, because while the Gorosei have these weird demon forms, we don't know how they got them. So would that be attributed to the god of the forest? There's a lot of theories coming off of this. The next one says, the promised day, we are full metal alchemists now. Down below, we got another one. They say, can we give Loki some credit for taking so many hits from everyone he has met? And yeah, that's true. Even Luffy tried to attack him, right? Loki dodged, but Luffy also tried to attack this guy. He did. Elbaph is peak. Release my boy Loki. He did nothing wrong. We got to get that flashback. I agree. He probably did nothing wrong, but I gotta see the tapes first. Freaking goosebumps on that final double page spread. I think the angels are referring to people like Skypians. The whole arc made references to heaven, God, and angels. That's not bad. That is not bad. Yeah, now that I look at the angel in the mural, it is missing the halo. So since it doesn't have the halo and just white wings, I do think it's Skypians. I think Skypians is a really, really safe bet. But we also have actual people with halos in the mural too. So maybe that's just dead people. Yeah, I could just see that being dead people and the people with wings. Skypians 100%. Down below, they say Robin has many hands versus Gunko who has many arrows is a natural matchup. Robin versus Gunko. Okay, I could see that. And I think this will happen since Gunko and Shamrock are going to the Walrus Academy, which is next to the library. So yeah, Robin could try to stall Gunko, but would Robin win? I don't know. When I think about arrows versus hands, I just can't imagine Robin blocking the arrows in a good manner. And the downside with Robin is that if you hurt her hands or, whatever body part she spawns, she feels the damage. Whereas Gunko, we don't know how her power works quite yet, but I'm assuming if you attack her arrows, Gunko doesn't get hurt in the process. So Robin might be at a disadvantage if they were to fight. And then plus, I don't know why, but when I think of arrows and hands, I just imagine people getting their hands shot down to the ground or something, We saw Gunko pin down a bunch of forest animals, and if she does that with Robin's hands, that would hurt. But then again, Saul is here. So maybe Saul tanks some of the blows, and then Saul and Robin have a crazy team up. I mean, Saul was a vice admiral, and we know the vice admirals are pretty strong, right? Or at least in my head they are. In my hopes and dreams, the VAs are powerful. So come on, Saul, you got this. Next comment says, bro, I can't wait to see the panel of Zoro's reaction when he sees that sword. Yeah, I wonder if Zoro's gonna get an idea to maybe put a devil fruit in his sword, because that would be pretty cool, right? Oda did tease us at one point, and he said that if the Straw Hats were to have a devil fruit, that he would want to give Zoro Kaido's devil fruit, which would be insane. Imagine Zoro's fighting and then a dragon freaking pops out, bro. Come on. But yeah, I want to see Zoro's reaction. I don't agree with the theory that Zoro is going to take Shamrock's sword for himself. And that's simply because Zoro only uses katanas. He's never used any other sword before, unless he really had to. I think there's one instance where Zoro picked up a sword out of a bin and he had to fight with that for a little bit, but after he was done with it, he traded it for a katana. So yeah, I don't think Zoro's gonna take Shamrock's sword because it's not his style, but I think it will spark a really cool reaction. Now, next up, they say, I definitely think the, quote, they will not, and cannot meet again portion are referring specifically to each world-era of Joy Boy and Poseidon. Poseidon, back then, probably rampaged when the world government killed Joy Boy, if you go by the end of the second verse. It could also attest to why they segregate and oppress the fishmen because of whatever Poseidon did back in the day. We did see back at Fishman Island the apology letter Joy Boy wrote to her, so it makes sense low-key. Oh, I like that. So I saw somebody earlier comment this as well, like Poseidon snapped when the world government killed Joy Boy, and I agree, but I still don't think Poseidon is the sea god. I still don't think they're the same person, because when I think about the sea god being enraged, I personally attribute that to why devil fruit users can't swim. It almost feels like an omnipotent power where, oh, I'm mad, so now everybody sinks when they hit the ocean, which I think is a power that Poseidon doesn't have. Poseidon can control sea beasts, and they can, I don't know, maybe raise the waters as well. Like, sure, Hoshi, if she really locked in, she could do all of that. But as far as that universal thing to make devil fruit users sink, I don't think that's her. But of course, this is my headcanon where I attribute that to the same person. So yes. But I do agree with this part right here. I love this a lot, where you say that Poseidon rampaging is why they segregate and oppress fishmen. I think that is definitely going to be the case. I like that. I didn't even think about this until just now. I feel like it's a very simple connection, and I'm like, like it's like a puzzle piece. You know, you slip it in, and it just fits perfectly. But yeah, I like it. I like that. I like that. So now, going down, they say, the deity of the forest dispatch demons. That's literally devil fruits. Yep, I think this could be devil fruits. I think this could even just be real demons, or maybe they were one and the same back in the day, right? Bro, we got like 900 years in between. So it definitely could be something insane, like real demons, and then they died, became devil fruits, or vice versa. And then we even have the first world where we go even farther back, and we don't even know what that looks like. Brother, we look at the mural and there's freaking skyscrapers in there. What are we expecting at this point? It's crazy. It's crazy. Next comment, they say, people of the half moon, the fragmented moon, it's literally confirmed. The D is a half moon. Yep. And I think this is a really good revelation. We already talked about this earlier too. But if the D is the half moon, if there is nothing it stands for, I think that is perfect. Because imagine what the D could stand for if not the half moon, right? You'd have to put a name to it. And I feel like if you put a name to it, that's where it gets kind of weird. Because it's like, what would you name it, right? Like, would you name it Dung, Darkness, Destroyer? Like, what would the D stand for? And I feel like that would be a really hard battle for anyone, because at that point, a lot of people get that name, right? We got Luffy, we got Dragon, we got Garp, we have Ace. I'm trying to think about other D-Clan members. Is it Roger? Yeah, Roger's a D-Clan as well. Blackbeard, Law. Like, so many people would be affected by whatever that is. But if it's just a half moon, it's like, oh, then you can kind of omit it in certain instances, right? It's just a symbol. So yeah, I like the half moon a lot. I think this is perfect. And then if the half moon is a D, then the full moon will be an O. So will we meet an O initial character later in the series? Maybe it's Emu, you know? Maybe we put Emu O, which would be like Emu King, because Uo is king, huh? Could be something like that, could be something. Or maybe the O is the hoof of the celestial dragon, right? They have their marking, the hoof of the celestial, and the full moon could just be that circle in the middle. I think there's something there. So going down, oh, look at this, we got a super chat. They say, it sounds like there are 3 gods dash special fruits for the 3 worlds. The first one is Sun God Nika equals Luffy. Second is the deity of the sea and earth, which is Emu. And then we have the serpent of fire, Loki, Nidhogg, and the serpent dragon that starts Ragnarok dash the chaos dragon that brings order between good and evil. Good and evil and chaos, all 3 coming together to create balance and peace. Good is Luffy and evil is Emu. Free will dash chaos dash order is Loki. Like my last comment, I'm going all in on Loki being the serpent. Yes, so I've seen the serpent Loki theories, and now that we have the mural, I think there is something connected here. Because if you look at it, we see this giant holding a giant stick, right? I'm assuming that's Loki because of the horns, because of how big he is, and because he's standing right next to Nika. But we see this pattern on his waist, right? I don't know how to describe it. It's like an arrow pattern almost. And you see that same pattern on the serpent on the far right of the mural. So they could be connected. You know, that could be Loki, or maybe that could just mean that the serpent originated from Elbaph. I think there's a couple ways to look at this, but yeah, now that we know that, you know, Nika is considered one of the gods in here, and we have the earth god, the rain god, the forest god. I do wonder if we will see those as devil fruits down the road. Like, what makes the sun god so special to where only that one devil fruit is respawned over and over and over? Like, where is the forest god fruit? Where's the rain god fruit? Where's the earth god fruit? I wonder. But there could also exist a reality where those guys never died. Maybe because the sun god was the only one who explicitly died in the story, maybe that's why he's revived. And we'll have to fight those other gods later on. I think that'd be pretty cool. I really wish, this is like, not like greedy per se, but I really wish whoever wrote the Harley text was way more descriptive. And even the painting. Bro, imagine this mural that we got in the chapter, but they labeled it, right? Whatever kid drew it, he's like, yeah, by the way, like this character's Nika, this is supposed to be that guy, this serpent is actually this right here, and like they write the name out. Oh man, they could have saved us so much trouble, man. But of course, because they didn't do that, we can come up with all of these goddamn theories. And thank you again, man, for the 5. I really appreciate it. So now, going down the next comment, they say, we need a moment when Zoro sees the dog and goes, Son told you. Oh yeah, dude. Do you think it's gonna be fighting on sight? Like the minute Zoro sees the dog, he's like, oh, time to beat him. Because if I recall correctly, in Thriller Bark, when Luffy and the gang saw the Cerberus, didn't they like immediately tame him? Like it tried to attack Luffy and then Luffy didn't care. He beat it up. And then next thing you know, Luffy's riding on the dog and Zoro's like right beside him. Well, imagine that's the case. Imagine they dog walk the dog. And now, speaking of Zoro, we also have another comment coming over from Patreon. But they say, do you remember Zoro's message to his master? He said he'll become so known that his name will reach the heavens. So do you think he's going to beat Garland or Shanks' brother? Because technically, Marijra, where the celestial dragons are, they consider themselves the gods. And I do think that Zoro will beat a celestial dragon swordsman, but I'm gonna take the cop-out route and say that celestial dragon he's gonna beat is Mihawk. Don't get me wrong, I still think he will beat another swordsman within the God Knights. I don't think it's gonna be Shamrock, because I do want to save him for somebody else, whether it's Shanks or maybe even Mihawk himself too. But if Mihawk is like this hidden celestial dragon, like I kind of speculate he is, then that could be another way of his name reaching the heavens, right? I think that'd be pretty damn solid. So now, going on to the comment right below though, they say, Sai, I'm positive now that the lyrics of Bing Sake are actually this poem after being reinterpreted and corrupted over the years. Now we gotta change it to know the meaning of Laugh Tale. Okay, let me see again. Bing Sake. I don't see how it goes to Bing Sake yet, but maybe that could correlate with they will meet, because it's all about delivering Bing Sake, right? Delivering Binks's brew. So maybe in the first world and second world, they couldn't deliver Bing Sake, but in the third world they do? And the reason I bring it to that point is because I have no idea who the hell they're talking about when they say, oh, they won't meet again, and then they will meet again. So maybe the they that they will meet is Binks's sake? Perhaps? But I don't see it quite yet, but I will keep that in the back of my pocket because I have seen a lot of people bring up Binks' sake in the final saga that this will be important. And I do agree. I feel like eventually we will get the origin of this song. And the thing is that One Piece is still holding on to this song very strongly. I mean, even with Film Red, they brought this song back too. So I think it will be a big plot point later. So down here, they say it's crazy that it sounds like the Celestials would have allowed Shanks back into the Holy Land if he hadn't denied their offer. And yeah, again, this is nepotism at its finest, right? You can't exactly say no to the Supreme Commander's son. You can't. And then plus with Shanks being how strong he is, I bet they looked at him and said, yeah, we gotta let this guy back in, guys. I mean, come on. If the dad is strong, if the brother's strong, the little brother is going to be just as crazy. And also, I've already made this theory before, but I think he might have gotten his sword Griffin from the Holy Land too. Bro, there's gotta be a reason why Garling, Shamrock, and Shanks have the same sword. For Garling and Shamrock, it makes sense because it's father and son. But for Shanks, who didn't grow up in the Holy Land, why does he have that particular blade? Of course, Roger had a cutlass, so it also had the guarded hilt, but, you know, would Shanks take after that? I think he would, but I think it would add another layer if Garling and or Shamrock were the ones who gave him his current blade, Griffin. And come on, dude, Griffin is named after the Griffin mythological creature. I think it's there. I think it's definitely there. Seems like the art is going to be crazy as the lore drops, and it is. You know, the art has dropped, brother, and it looks insane. Of course, it looks like a kid's drawing, but that is what Oda's going for. Now, next comment they say, no wonder Roger said, nope, I'm dipping after reading all the information of Laugh Tale. He probably saw everything Emu did to the second world and said, nope, good luck, next generation. He wanted no smoke. That's pretty funny. I've seen memes of this online of like people saying, oh, Roger's seeing that, Emu has the whole squad with him and then Roger just pieces out and he disappears. I don't think that's the case, but I do think it's a really funny joke. I do. I like to have a good laugh. I thought this was hilarious. As far as Roger goes, though, I think that maybe he came to a certain answer. Maybe when he saw the truth of the world, maybe he took the world government side. I know that is a hot take, and I know not a lot of people are gonna like that, but even Vegapunk said, which again, it's still ambiguous, but even Vegapunk said that because he doesn't know all the facts, he can't determine who is right and who is wrong. Vegapunk said even if he were to die, don't blame the person who killed him. So it does make me wonder, when we learn the full scope of the Void Century, will the Celestial Dragons and or the original 20 Kings and Queens, will they truly be villains? Right? Because even in the second world, we learned that the sun set the embers of war aflame. And then another translation said the sun god caused destruction. So maybe there is a scenario where Joy Boy wasn't that great, or maybe Joy Boy was good, but the outcome of his actions weren't? Like good intentions, bad execution, something like that. I don't know. I still think it's crazy to think about how 20 kingdoms, 20 kings and queens got together and said, yeah, we have to destroy the ancient kingdom. That is kind of what Luffy's doing right now, right? Luffy's going around the world. He's gathering allies, gathering nations to potentially fight the world government one day. That is what happened in the Void Century, but to the ancient kingdom. So it really does make you wonder, like, what happened back then? Will it be a simple thing where one guy's good, one guy's bad, or will it be like a gray area? And you kind of have to decide for yourself who to side with. I think that could have been what happened to Roger. And of course, he did say they came there too soon. So there's a lot of things with it. I think there's a lot of layers. And I kind of wonder what Roger would have done if he was born later, in Luffy's generation, and if he wasn't terminally ill. Right? I feel like Oda kind of went out of his way to nerf Roger. Like, yes, Roger doesn't have the time to change anything, and Roger's also dying, right? Like, it's crazy what he was dealt, man. Crazy, crazy. The serpent covered in red blood that the giants talked about is the red line on the earth, and the serpent that will battle Nika. Emu is the astral form projected of this serpent. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I've always been a big fan of the red line being the actual snake, and I also think this attributes itself to the god of the earth as well, right? Because when we read the passage about the first world, it talks about how the god of the earth and the snake battle together. Well, if the god of the earth had to create a snake, I would like to imagine it's made out of rock. And you know what else is made out of rock? The red line. So yeah, I'm a big fan of it. And of course, it's called Red Line. Dorian Brogy described this creature as the blood-soaked serpent. And then of course, red is associated with fire. I do think it's all there. I think it's all there. So now, next comment and last comment, they say, one thing that caught my eye was the men became gods after slaying the sun. This could reference the celestial dragons taking control of the world or the Gorosei. Yep, I think this is pretty on the nose. I mean, let's be real. We knew that the celestial dragons became gods and named themselves that 900 years ago when they formed the world government. So yeah, I think this is the most on the nose part. And I'm glad everybody's pretty much on the same page. But yes, with that being said though, guys, I think this video has gone on long enough. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate all your time and all the support you guys have shown this channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't express that enough. And yeah, man, 11:39 is right around the corner. No breaks, all gas, no breaks. You know how it is. And it's a time to be alive. We haven't had 4 chapters in a row since 2022. It's been 3 years since Oda has had this much momentum in One Piece, and I'm loving it, guys. But with that being said, I'll catch you later. Peace out and take care.